Hi, I'm Damon with Learning Blade, and I'm going to show you how to use our light rail activity from our Mission Challenge resources to promote exciting STEM careers to your students. In the Learning Blade Traffic Congestion Mission, students learn about the challenges that city planners face in designing modern and efficient traffic systems. In this Mission Challenge activity, students must design an efficient rail system to connect city attractions based on projected passenger volume and construction costs. This will introduce them to some of the challenges that traffic engineers and city planners face. So now, let's begin our activity. Now for this activity, you're only going to need a few simple materials. We've got our city map worksheet here that shows us the map of the city. Also, we're going to need our list of the different attractions in the city, and it has our estimated annual patrons. Also, we've got our list of how much certain stops in certain areas of track will cost. And of course, we've got our $80 million budget there that we've got to keep in mind. Plus, you may need some paper or maybe a spreadsheet to track and budget all the cost of your rail system. So let's get started. So with my rail system, and with any of these rail systems, it's really left up to the student to determine, well, how do I want to design my system? Where do I want it to go? Now, we do have to keep in mind that we have, let's see, an $80 million budget, which sounds like a lot, but I promise you, you'll go through this money pretty quickly once you start building here. So we'll move this over. And one thing to note is on your map, you've got different lines that you'll build across, and these will be where you want to build. Now, you don't have to build over all of them, but this is where you could build. And the lines, the number of lines in a section show you how much it will cost. So if it's a single line, that's going to cost you $400,000 to construct a set of rails on that area. If it's got the 3 lines, it's going to take you or cost you $120,000 to do just that section of rail. So, for example, let's say that I want to connect the arena, the sports arena, number 15 over here. And maybe I want to connect it to the mall. So that's over there. If I start going down this way, you can see those are very expensive pieces of track. So maybe I don't want to go down that way. Maybe I want to go this way. So I'll go one here, but then I'll make a turn, go here, and then go there. All right. So those sets of tracks, I'll pay $120,000 for this section, but then for each of these are just $40,000. So this section here costs the same as that one there. So those are the kinds of things that your students will have to keep in mind when they're designing their rail. It might be easier to go around some of these other areas that are too expensive. So again, let's see, I'm just going to draw a few pieces of track here, and then we'll go back and calculate where things are. So 6 to the harbor, I don't really want to go to the harbor. The airport, I do want to go to the airport. So I'll connect into the airport. I'll go up here, and then I'll make a turn, and then run over to the arena. Okay. Now, one other thing that I have to keep in mind is if I put in different stops or stations. Now, the difference between a stop and a station is a stop will allow people to get on and get off. A station will allow you to change train lines. So that's an interesting thing to keep in mind, because I might have different spurs of railways that I want to connect together with a station. So let's see, maybe I'll go over here, let's see, number 11, there's the restaurant district, so we'll come down here. All right, so since I'm doing a branch, I'm going to put a station here, but I'm going to put stops at each one of my areas that I'm going to. All right, so I've just done a simple one here. Yours might be larger, but now let's calculate up how much I would spend to do this railway system. So I count up. First, I want to see, well, what are my standard rail sections? So my standard sections, how many of those do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I've got 15 of those. How many of the premium rail? do I have? I have one in here. I have none there. Oh, wow, that's really good about avoiding the premium. Okay, so I only have one section of premium rail. All right, that's good. That's going to save me some money. So I only have one of those. Now, how many stops and stations? So, stations. Let's see. For stations, I really only put in one. So one right there. But stops, I put in a fair amount of those. So I've got one here at there. I've got one at 14. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I've got 4 stops total. Okay. So now here's where we're going to do a little bit of our math and figure out how much does this rail system cost us so far. So each standard set of track is going to cost us $400,000. So I'll just go 400K, a little abbreviation there. For each of those, it's for 1.2 million. A stop and a station. Let's see, a station cost me $5 million. Woo! And a stop only cost me $1 million. So a bargain. So now we'll add these up. Got an extra 0 there. All right, so now let's total up and see how much my system costs. So far, my train system, my light rail system, cost $16,200,000 to do this part of it. Now, again, my budget is $80 million, so I've still got lots of money that I could spend if I wanted to, and I could go and I could start building over to the west side of town, maybe send a rail, a line maybe on some of these cheaper tracks, maybe branch off of my station and then curve over, and yeah, connect some of those. But for right now, I've just got these over here. So now let's look at how many people does my rail system service. So it services, let's see, number 15. And I also service number 14. And where else do I service? I service 11. And number 9, which is the airport. So those are the 4 areas that my little rail system services right now. One interesting thing is, you know, it's walking distance to the harbor, but it doesn't technically service it. So, you know, but that would be something I would notice. I would say, you know what, you only have to go 2 blocks to get to number 12, but still you would have to walk or maybe take a bus or something like that. So now let's see how many people that my rail system services in a year. 3. So it looks like mine services 31,300,000 people annually. So I could actually divide this and see how many dollars am I paying per person in order to build my rail system. So according to my calculations, I am spending about $1.93 per person that will be serviced by my system annually. Some other things you can do are use the discussion questions that are provided. Something like, what were the most challenging parts of designing the tram system? What were the easiest? How did the premium cost of some rail sections affect your system design? So again, that's something we talked about where we kind of snaked around some of the premium blocks so that we wouldn't have to build there. We could get away with building something that was cheaper. And that's an example of how this Mission Challenge activity introduces students to traffic engineering and city planning. In addition to this project, you can find other Mission Challenge activities in the resources section of Learning Blade. Thank you for watching, and be sure to check out other videos in this series.